What's up, everybody? How are we today? Steve Minglico, Final Web Design, and today's video, let's take a look at what's going to be happening in 2023 with web design, with programming, with coding, and where things are headed getting out of the 2022 year. So let's get into it. Final Web Design, this is Steve. Alright guys, so getting into 2023, where are things at with websites, development, coding? Well, let's start here with the most popular web platforms that are being used currently. And out of these CMS platforms that you're seeing right here, the WordPress, the Joomla, the Drupal, the Magento, I can tell you 90% of websites are now using the WordPress CMS platform. There's a lot of different reasons why WordPress has continued to stand out and grow itself as the most popular CMS platform. Most of it is because of convenience of updates, upgrades. There's a lot of different third-party plugins, extensions, things that developers have already created out there that make your life a lot easier going forward. It also has a lot of customization features, so you're able to really update anything that you need to be done. So going forward, more and more people are using the WordPress CMS platform. We actually build most of our websites using WordPress. I mean, if a client wants to use something else or has other feedback or wants to be on a different platform, we can definitely do that. But to keep everything on WordPress is really great because there's a lot of information out there, a lot of documentation, a lot of tutorial videos, a lot of, again, third-party plugins and extensions, and just a lot of tools out there that make life easier. It's also open source. So you're not paying a third-party company, it's more of an organization that builds this software. So as you can see going forward, WordPress is going to continue to stand out as probably the leading CMS platform out there. And there's a lot of reasons why it's a really great platform. This is probably what I would recommend if you're going to be building your own business, is using WordPress. Another one would be Joomla, but this has seen a huge decline. I personally do like Joomla. However, most businesses now are not using it, so I'm not going to spend too much time discussing that. But Joomla CMS is out there. We have Drupal. This is more for the enterprise level. Again, I'm seeing fewer and fewer websites using this. It's just a lot more complicated than web development needs to be. So if you're more of an enterprise or you're a professional developer out there looking for a job, you might find yourself using the Drupal CMS. However, majority of developers are not going to be running into that. And that'll bring me into Magento, which is now owned by Adobe. This is a really powerful customized CMS platform. But again, it's very enterprise level. If you're a big company, if you're a big organization, you might be using something like a Magento CMS. However, again, 90% of the websites out there, I'm not seeing Magento as a big leader. Although being owned now by Adobe has really given it a little bit more stability and more professionalism. However, there's just really no reason to go down the Magento course unless you're trying to work for an enterprise type level platform. And that would bring me into the e-commerce platform solutions, where basically we are going to be discussing what kind of e-commerce shop you might want to have. Basically, the Shopify is the most popular gateway, and that is basically what will allow you to, this is what most people are using for their e-commerce solution. If they're not using the Shopify platform, you will find a lot of people are using the WooCommerce. So WooCommerce is basically the payment gateway that is built into the WordPress CMS. So you will be able to move forward with the WooCommerce. Now, Authorize.net is going to be your payment gateway that's most popular in 2023. And the reason that a lot of people are using Authorize.net is it allows you to take credit cards directly from your website. PrestaShop, huge downplay. Not many people using the PrestaShop platform anymore. Hikashop as well. This one being used on the Joomla platform. Very small percentage of users using this anymore. PayPal is just another payment gateway, very popular in 2023. If you're not going to take cards directly through the website yourself, you can ultimately just take the cards through the third-party PayPal system, which is pretty popular, and a lot of people have accounts, and it's very secure and takes that whole reliability of you storing and holding on to credit card data out of the responsibility of the developer or of the business itself, and brings it over to PayPal. Shopify is where you really start to see a lot of people building now in 2023. Shopify is an awesome platform if you're a very basic e-commerce distributor, there are monthly fees and things that you have to pay to the Shopify platform, so it can be kind of expensive as opposed to building something more customized with like with the WooCommerce. However, it's at this stage, it's really not something that more and more businesses are using the Shopify platform going into 2023, and it does give a lot of people who don't have a lot of development skills the ability to manage their e-commerce project. However, the themes are very basic. There's not a lot of customization you can do. It's really kind of a one and all platform just to get your product out there. And again, there's a lot of fees associated with it, so that's why I really don't recommend people build on Shopify. However, it's definitely something that can be done if needed. VirtueMart is another system that we basically are seeing less and less. However, I used to be a big fan of VirtueMart. It's another Joomla extension plugin, but because Joomla itself is not being used as much, we're not seeing VirtueMart used as much. And then finally here we have WooCommerce, which is my favorite. It's the most customizable. It's a third-party plugin with WordPress, and it is available to just to be installed with all different platforms and be able to work your website going forward. So with that being said, those kind of take up the most popular platforms for web development. Now we went over the basic CMSs, we've gone over some of the e-commerce platforms. Why don't we go into the actual coding and what languages are going to be popular going into the next year? And obviously you have the big three, which are standard across the web industry and the web browser functionality, and that is going to be HTML, which is your basic foundations of the web. It allows you to kind of structure and build your website with the very foundations of a website page. CSS is another. I mean, anybody who does any web development is going to know that HTML is CSS and JavaScript. CSS is your design and your look and your aesthetics for the website. So basically, going forward, you're going to be able to, change colors and make different sizes and responsive design for the mobiles and things like that. So CSS is going to remain very popular. A lot of frameworks like Bootstrap are still out there and are only going to continue to get more popular going forward to keep design elements and things as easy and customizable as possible. And then finally, maybe I can find it down here, we have our JavaScript, which is these are the front end, so everything that the user is seeing. JavaScript is increasingly important. We're seeing more JavaScript frameworks, which I'll go into next, which are basically all of the Reacts, the Vues, the Angulars, all these things that are being used for mobile applications. So knowing your HTML, your CSS, and your JavaScript are really going to give you a strong foundation on web design, web development, and where things are going here into 2023. Why don't we talk then, I'll go into, first of all, before I go into any of the back end of dev, I do want to go into the JavaScript frameworks. And when we open up here, you'll see that basically the big JavaScript frameworks are going to be the Angular, the React, and Vue.js. So at this stage, you can basically see that we are at a position where frameworks are becoming increasingly important. More and more people are using these frameworks for their mobile application. These are all built on the JavaScript coding language. The other two here are jQuery, which used to be very popular. A lot less of this is going to be happening in 2023. Node, just for building the backend JavaScript coding, that's going to become more and more popular going into the next year. I think Angular will probably see the least amount of growth, whereas Vue and React are going to continue to kind of dominate the market going forward, and where everybody wants to be using their application development going into the next year. Finally, let's talk a little bit about just some of the tools. Looking at the back end here, you can see that we will still be using a lot of PHP. Of course, that's very popular. It's never going anywhere. Python has continued to grow as far as the back end, and Ruby is really not going to be that popular anymore. It's really fallen off, not nearly as much use. And then the other one to that would just be the MySQL and the databases. So that's going to continue to be a standard as far as your database management. Going into the version control, we'll continue to see GitHub, GitLab, BitBucket. These are going to become the popular systems and will continue to grow in popularity. Git is also going to be the version control that's going to be used to set up and manage your sites. So guys, with that being said, that is pretty much where the next year is going. You can kind of see there's a lot of different tools happening, there's a lot of different languages happening, but really you have your foundational tools that are staying the same. We're really not seeing these big evolutions that we used to see maybe 4 or 5 years ago when technologies were changing a lot more rapidly. So if you can get in there and start to get some of these foundational skills, I think you'll be in a really good place going into 2023. I kind of went over the CMS platforms that are being used. I went over the back-end technology. I went over some of the front-end technology with the HTML, CSS, JavaScript. And with that being said, guys, if you are interested in having any more of these skills or want to learn more, please let us know. And we will continue to put out more videos to help teach and explain all these technologies to our users. And we just want to be there for any questions you might have, any help you want with any of these skills, any services you want to help make these websites of yours a little bit better, more professional, and ready for 2023. So with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, a like and subscribe, that stuff helps. And we will catch you in the next one. Peace.